gamers. Today we will be discussing a little bit of an announcement and my opinion on AOM. So I've been playing AOM, so since it came out I had early release, which was like a week prior to the official release. It's now, what day is today? Tuesday, 3rd of September. So I've been playing AOM for 35 hours. I couldn't play for Friday, Saturday, Sunday because I had some AoE 4 stuff. So I kind of wanted to give my opinion about the game, what I like and what I don't like. And like I said, after that, a little bit of an announcement. So I'm going to start with the things I like. The things that I do like is that it's a new game for me. And obviously, whenever you play a new game, it's exciting, it's fun. You're like discovering a whole new world, and there's already people part of that world, and it's cool to join, be a part of it, and everyone wants to see how I'm doing, and so on and so forth, which is cool. I like the new game hype, and I think everyone does, right? Another thing I like about AOM is god powers. I think having god powers in the game is really cool. And the fact that they made them reusable is really good, with favor. Because I think it adds a lot to the game. It's not like, oh, I use this once and I can't use it again. But they're not reusable so much that you can spam them, which is really cool. Now, you can change the tempo quite a bit in the game with god powers, which I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, you can use it for economy, to change the pace. You can adapt your play style to, like, if you're Ra, you can spam rain for farms, right? So you can have less villagers on food and stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool. I really like the fact that you have Greeks, Egyptians, Norse, and Atlanteans, and within Greeks you have like 3 different gods, or civs if you're coming from AoE 4. Look at them like civs, right? So you can play, if you like the way Greeks work, I think it's great that you have multiple options of playing Greek. So not only you have Hades, which is usually like more defensive, archer focused Greek god, but if you want more cavalry, you go Poseidon. If you want to go more aggressive, kind of middle of the road, you go Zeus. So basically, it's like in AoE 4, if you like China, imagine having an aggro China, defensive China, and then like tech China, right? So that's how it works in AoM, and I think that's pretty cool. It's a way to, you don't have to buff all Egyptian gods, for example. You just need to buff the Egyptian god that the playstyle is lacking. So for example, if Ra is the macro Egyptian god, you don't have to buff Isis or Set. You can just buff something for Ra to buff that side of an Egyptian god, which I think is really cool. And you also have a lot of different options during the age ups. It's kind of like AoE 4, which I also really like. When you age up, you can choose which path you're going to take, and that gives you different units, different upgrades. So there's a lot of variety, there's a lot of options. I am not sure what the balance of the game is because I've only played 35 hours, so I can't be, too critical that something is OP or weak. I don't know. I suck at the game. So yeah, I think all those things are cool, and basically all these Greeks, Egyptians, Norse, and Atlanteans, they're so different that it's not gonna feel like if you play Egyptians and then you play Greeks, it feels similar. It doesn't. The way they work is very, very different. But if you pick Ra to Isis to Set, they will feel a lot more similar. But at the same time, enough variety to where you can be like, I actually prefer playing Set over Ra, right? So I think that's pretty cool. The maps are very similar to AoE 4, where you pick a map and then the map randomly generates, which I think is really cool. I think that adds to a lot of replayability to the game, which I think is great. And the maps, depending on how the spawns are, can dictate the game quite a lot. So this happens again in AoE 4 and AoE 2, where it's, in AoE 4, if you have like a double forward gold, the opponent can tower rush it or do something about it, and then you're out of gold. Same thing happens in AoM, so you kind of have to adapt to the map very quickly, which is something I personally like. And there's a lot of like intricacy in, for example, the spearmen from Greeks is not same as spearmen from Egyptians. I didn't know this like for the first 15 hours, but there's like damage multiplier that each unit has. So like some spearmen have 175 damage multiplier, some have 125. Which again, I think is cool. It adds to variety, but it can also create some problems along the line in terms of balance, which talk about that later. I really like that myth units are, it's like you have one or two early, but they're very powerful and you need to deal with them, right? It's like you have heroes, but you also have myth units that if they're not taken care of, they can kill a lot of, basic units. So you kind of have to focus that. There's a lot of microing back and forth. And I think that's great. So overall, I've had a lot of fun playing AOM. I mainly focused on Egyptians. I would say 80% and 20% I played Greeks just to learn the basics. I haven't even touched Atlanteans and Norse yet because I wanted to understand these two as much as possible. And I feel like I am very close to getting Egyptians, like not only understanding the units, but how to play them. So, yeah. Now the things that I don't like about AOM. A lot of the things I don't like, I feel like is dev's fault. And things that can be fixed so easily, and I don't understand why it's not in the game. So, I'll give you an example. One of the things that doesn't exist in the game, so if I open my profile, I can go match history, and I cannot open to see villagers, stats, and everything else, which is just, to me, mind-boggling. Like, how is this not a thing? So if I want to, let's say I finish the game, and I'm like, wait, how many villagers did I have then? I have to load a replay, scroll all the way through, in order to see where I'm at, which is really dumb. Like, why can we not open the match history like we can in every RTS game? So that's really bad, and I don't know why that's in the game, not in the game. Second thing is replays. Replays maximum speed you can go, I think, is 1.5. You cannot go ×8. You cannot skip through the replay. So again, if I'm playing a 40-minute game and I leave or I DC, whatever, I cannot just go in match history and check, oh, what happened? I have to watch the replay for 40 minutes at 1.5 speed, which to me makes no sense. And I feel like these are things that are so simple. And again, it's 2024, and the fact that this is not in the game is very weird to me. Let's talk about the ladder itself. I like that you have God win rates and stuff like this. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if this is actually correct. I'm pretty sure I played way more games than this. I have like 50 games played, so I'm not sure what happened with that, but hopefully if they fix it, it's going to be good. I mean, yeah, 54 games played. Ladder reset. Oh, it's the most recent 10. Well, it's not recent 10. It's more than that. Anyway, I like this. I hope they fix it so you can see it throughout your whole season, your win rates, and I would even love to see matchups. So if I open this and I can press on set, I want to see my win rates with set against other gods. That's something that, again, I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be implemented, and it's something that I would personally like to see. You have this in StarCraft 2. You don't have it in AoE 4, but in AoE 4 you can track it on, I guess, AoE 4 World website. But, you know, maybe someone's going to do that for the game. Now, next thing is when you go multiplayer. By the way, I haven't touched the campaign, so I don't know much about it. When you go ranked, right here, if you want to queue up, one thing you will notice is there is no map pool. And I'm not saying there's no vetoes, which is another problem. I don't know what the map pool is. Unless I'm blind, it just doesn't say what maps are in. Which is, again, to me, mind-boggling that that is not a thing. Another thing I really dislike is the fact that you cannot veto maps. So there are 3 water maps, I want to say, 2 or 3 water maps, 3 water maps that I just don't want to play because I'm a new player and I want to focus on learning the basic game. And I don't want to play on water, and there is no option to veto maps. So far, every time I get a water map, I've tried playing them. I don't want to play them. I have to Alt F4 and then log back in and then queue up in hoping to get a land map. So again, why are there no vetoes in the game? I have no clue. Or even, why doesn't it not show what is the map pool in the first place? I have no clue how many maps are in the map pool. Now, the same thing that I did like about AOM is the same thing I dislike, which is god powers. Some of the god powers are absolutely batshit insane. And in my limited time of playing 30-35 hours, I've had games where I'm winning and the opponent ages up to age 4 and they use a god power and they kill my whole army. And I'm just like, I understand that god powers are supposed to, you know, turn the tides, but they're not turning the tides. They're just fucking flipping your whole boat. Not all god powers are like that, but especially age 4 ones are like that. There's some very, very strong god powers in age 3, like the trees from Norse, that is very, very strong, which I'm assuming that they might do some rebalancing and stuff like that. But I think as cool as the god powers are, from a competitive point of view, I think there's too many of them that are too strong. And if there was 1 or 2 that are too strong, then it's a balance issue. But I feel like if so many of the god powers are too strong, then it's just a design issue, which I'm not sure if it's ever gonna get changed or fixed. Next, and I hope this is a bug, and I hope this is not how the game works, but villagers, when you are on your goats or in your town center, just randomly go idle. I don't know why this happens. I've tried spreading around the goats and doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They just go idle, and they just don't continue gathering. So I have no idea why that happens, but it is very, very annoying. One of the big ones is your villagers, and again, it's 2024. Mind-boggling. Villagers do not have a move command. So what happens very often is you try to select your army, and there's one villager, and you press A, and then A move. And then the only thing that happens is your army starts moving, but your villager starts building whatever it is on your hotkey. So, if you have villager in your control group, you just cannot A move. Which, mind-boggling to me. I don't know why this is a thing. So, I know there's options to, when you select, do not select villagers, but sometimes when I select everything, I do want to select villagers. But yeah, this is another thing that, it's not just in that situation. If you're getting attacked, and I have like 20 villagers, sometimes, whatever RTS game you play, sometimes you'll put your villagers in front, A-move them to soak up the damage. In AOM, the only way to do that is you right-click on a unit, and what happens is all your villagers will stack on one unit until that unit dies, and they will start fighting. So if you're fighting against a god power with AoE, or if you're fighting against a myth unit that has AoE, your villager will stack, and you can like basically lose all of them very, very quickly. So, no clue why this is not in. It's not like a hotkey that's missing. There's just no option for you to A-move your villagers, which is, again, crazy to me. Another thing that I like this and I dislike this. So I forgot to mention in the like part. I like that Greeks have a scout. It has a massive range, kind of like AoE 4 scout. It has massive range. You go around, you scout. You know, you're collecting goats. You're seeing where the opponent is. Then you have Egyptians that have the priests, and basically they have very low vision, but they can build these obelisks that give you a lot of vision, and they're very cheap, so you go around and build these obelisks. And then you have Atlantean. I don't know what their scout really does. Again, I haven't played them. I know it's like a oracle going around. I don't know what his vision is like. And then you have Norse, which is their scout is the guy that's also building buildings and can kind of chase other scouts. And I think this is really cool that all of them have that kind of thing going for them. But at a competitive level, this is very annoying because Egyptians have a lot harder time scouting your opponent than Greeks do. So I do like design-wise that they're different and there's different ways to do these things. I think that's great. But from a competitive point of view, the fact that you struggle to scout as certain gods leads to a lot of more unpredictable gameplay, which to me, if you like can't scout something, figure out something is not as fun. And obviously you can send your, myth units around, or you can try to scout and stuff like that. But I wish there was an alternative for that. To be honest, I don't know what the solution there is. I just personally, it feels a bit weird. Another thing that is very weird for me, and I don't know if this is retold or this is how it's always been. So when you play Age of Empires 4, right? You can make spearmen in Dark Age. When you age up to Feudal Age, you need to pay 15 food, 35 gold to upgrade the spearmen from Dark Age to Feudal Age. That makes sense, right? You had spearmen in Dark Age, you could produce them in Dark Age, you age up to Feudal, and now you have to upgrade them to Feudal Age. That makes perfect sense. In AOM, you have to upgrade all the units from from Dark Age to Feudal Age, and from Feudal Age to Castle Age, even if you didn't have access to them in the previous age. Which makes no sense to me. So for example, Egyptians have Migdol, it's like a keep, Migdol Stronghold in Castle Age, Age 3. So when you make it, logic says that you don't need to upgrade the units because you couldn't make them beforehand. But for some reason in AOM, the way it works is, even though you didn't have access to those units in the previous age, you still have to upgrade them to the current age, which I don't really understand. I don't really see what the point of that is, and it is very, very confusing to me. I am wrong? How am I wrong? They're already medium? Yes, my point is, if I just got access to those units, why do I need to upgrade them to another rank? So I personally don't get that, and I don't really like that. And then the last thing that I don't like about AOM is the pathing. Pathing is awful. It is very, very, very bad, to say the least. Units get stuck a lot. Units, sometimes if, let's say this is the wood line, your units are here, you send them here, right? This is a shorter path. They will go all the way around. And the worst part is, not all your units will do that. Just some. I don't know why. There's the problem with that. There's the problem with massive stacking that units can do. You can like stack 20 units in one spot. So there's no like collision, right? It just, the units can, it feels like infinitely stack, which I don't think it provides for a good gameplay. Because there is collision, but not always. I don't know how to explain it. If you played it, you know what I mean. So yeah, that's kind of it. I do like that they added the ability to make town centers anywhere now, but you don't get the bonus supply. I think that's pretty cool, and it probably opens up some gods to be able to go to TC without straight up dying, because sometimes when you play against an aggro god, if you plan to TC where you're supposed to, you just can't do it in time, and it has to get canceled. So I do like that they added that. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Most of the things I don't like are honestly just like UI stuff, and the fact that there's no vetoes, there's no A move on villagers, which I don't. I mean, it's a problem with the game, but I feel like it mostly comes from problem with why devs didn't put that in, like match history, replays only being 1.5. So that's something that I hope is changed in the future, and I hope it's fixed, because it's something that is very, very basic to be able to, to check what happened in this game. It's not really too crazy. Oh yeah, I see people mentioning graphics. I think graphics are fine. For me, it's hard to recognize units because I'm like newer player to the game. One thing I think it needs more clarity is the Veterancy upgrades. So if I upgrade the unit from Dark Age to Feudal Age, from Feudal Age to Castle Age, I think it's very hard to see that visually. Like maybe their armors should, I don't know, should be more out there or be brighter or something. I'm not sure, but it's hard to see. Even for old players like me, it's hard to see. Yeah, I mean, I understand part of it is me not you know, playing AOM for super long time. But even when I'm like, okay, let's pause and let's look, and you upgrade them, it's like, are you gonna be able to see that in the middle of the game when, you know, if it happens and stuff like that? I'm not sure about that. So, do I like the music? I mean, yeah, the music is the same, right? So I think it's pretty cool. One last thing that I hope they add, which is I haven't seen anyone talk about this. This is something that happened in AoE 4, which is why I'm mentioning it. So at the start of AoE 4, if you spam Town Center and then Scout, it will go like constantly the unit will be responding, right? So like, let's say the Scout responds with hello, right? It's, if you keep pressing 1, it's not gonna say hello, and then after a while say hello again. It will be hello, 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 hello. So what AoE 4 used to have that, and then they added a delay to how often the units can have responses, which made the game way better. And I don't know if AoE 4 players remember this. This was very early in AoE 4, but when they added that, it was a lot better, and now it's like very repetitive and there's just no delay to it. So I understand the buildings, like if you're swapping between the buildings, but there's no reason why units should be constantly repeating sounds if you're switching to them. So, yeah. Oh yeah, another thing. I see Diogo mentioned in the chat, garrisoning, and I'm assuming this is a bug. I don't know how it worked in the original AOM. So if you select 20 villagers and you press garrison, the villagers that go in TC, if you use the command return to work, they will return to work. The villagers from towers will, however, not return to work, and they will just stay in the towers until you manually select the tower and then eject them from the tower. Which I think should be fixed because, again, it doesn't make sense, right? Return to work button, in my opinion, on the TC should work for wherever your workers are. So I don't like that, and I hope they fix that. That being said, in the last 2 weeks, I have played 4 AoE 4 tournaments. It's been very, very busy. Which again, since the release of AOM, I've also had to take 3 days off for AoE 4 because there was tournaments. I won 3 of them. I got second place in 1 of them, which was I was very happy about. And we also have another team tournament for AoE 4 coming up this week that I will be playing in. It's 2 days, and I will be playing pretty much whole day. But with that being said, I like a challenge, and I personally don't think it's enough time, but I will be trying to qualify for Red Bull through AOM. I think it's going to be a good challenge to... Again, I don't think I'll qualify, but just to see how far I can go in the qualifiers and how far I can go on the ladder. Today I started on, I think, rank 180. I think I'm ranked 90 now. I started 4 or 5 hours ago, so... Yeah, I mean, I'll play it. I'll stream 6-8 hours a day of AOM over the next 2 weeks and see how far I can get. The reason I say it's going to be very hard and improbable for me to qualify, or probably even get to the top 8 in qualifiers, is obviously the guys that I'm going to be playing against have been playing AOM for 15 to 20 years. And a lot of the people that are playing Red Bull qualifiers have had access for like 6 months prior to it. So they've been not only playing for 20 years, but they've been playing Retold for like 6 months. Which I can say because I'm not under NDA for that. Yeah, I'm kind of playing against the 6 months of AOM Retold practice and 20 years of AOM knowledge. So it's gonna be fun, you know, to try, see how far I can get, see if I can prepare for it or not. I think mechanically, I can probably beat most of the players in AOM. I think where I'm gonna lack severely is just game knowledge, and it's gonna be very hard to learn, very, very hard. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much I don't know and how much I need to learn. You have like 50 different units, and I gotta learn like damage multipliers against every unit, how much armor every unit has, which unit is good against which unit, how to deal with certain myth units, what spells myth units have, what god powers do, how to use god powers. Then you have, you know, a lot of matchups, right? So Zeus has billion matchups, Hades has different matchups, Ra, Set, Odin, and so on and so forth. So we'll see how it goes. I will be streaming it all live on Twitch. So if you want to see me practice, make sure to tune in. Now, regarding AoE 4, I know there's going to be people that are, you know, obviously going to be dooming that I'm quitting AoE 4. I'm not quitting AoE 4. I still love playing AoE 4. Like I said, I've played so much of AoE 4, it's insane. And there's a lot of AoE 4 tournaments coming up over the next 6 months that I know of, that I will be participating 100%. And I don't know what the future, I'll be honest, I don't know what the future holds for AOM, right? So I don't know what's happening there, but I do know that AoE 4 has a lot of tournaments. And like I said,
I'm gonna make a post on Reddit about you quitting right now.
Like I said, I am gonna play AoE 4 on the weekend because Mareka is organizing the tournament, so I don't want to dip on that. But other than that, I will be streaming AOM. So if you want to follow the journey, feel free. It's basically going to be a guy that has no idea about Age of Mythology, is trying to literally learn 20 years of the game knowledge in 2 weeks. I'm excited for it. I think it's a nice little project. There's no serious tournaments going on right now in AoE4, so I figured, you know, why not? You know, what do I gotta lose? I'll try it. If I lose, that's it. I got experience from trying to speed around learning a new RTS and trying to compete in it. If I qualify, which is again very unlikely, that'd be great. But yeah. So with that being said, I do want to say that I appreciate everyone who is like supportive of me and my stream or videos, whether it's AoE4 or AOM. If you're from AOM and you're shit-talking AoE4, you will get permanent ban. And if you're from AoE4 and you're coming into my stream and just molding every day and yapping that I'm playing AOM and why did I quit AoE4, you will also get banned. Because all I'm asking is for you to be respectful. I know the RTS communities are fucking weird. No, my game is the best. No, my game is better. Again, if you're from AoE4, you know, and you don't enjoy watching AOM or you're not interested in AOM, I 100% understand. If the game's not for you, it's not for you. I'm not forcing you to watch me. All I'm asking is to be respectful, and you know, I'll have AoE4 on the weekend, and after the qualifiers are done, I'll be back to AoE4. So that's it. That is it. You can play both games at the same time, you know. You don't need to just focus on one and shit on the other one. And that's it. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for watching. Check me out on Twitch. I'm probably practicing AOM right now. I mean, I might quit midway through. I don't think I will. I think I'm going to just take this as a challenge and see how far I can get as a challenge for myself. So tune in. Check it out. If you're watching on Twitch, keep going.